What's going on, guys? So, our job today is to look at what we're going to be seeing when we get to our Algebra 1 STAAR test, which is on Thursday, December 4th. Now, my goal is to get as many of you guys as I can in person to go through this, but if not, or if you want the extra practice, here is a video to run down everything that we're going to talk about during this boot camp. Now, the first thing, when you are in Google Classroom, which I figure I might as well show you from the very beginning of this. So when you guys are in my class, first of all, I've posted links to other lessons that you guys can work on as well, in addition to a general quizzes Delta Math STAAR review if you guys would like to work through that. But probably the most effective thing that you guys can do to get ready, especially just 2 or 3 days out from the test, is to actually see what the test is going to look like. So when you open up this link right here, STAAR Bootcamp, I've posted the instructions on the right, I've posted the test itself on the left. So I'm going to click this. Now, unfortunately, this is quite a bit of steps, but all it is clicking a button. So once you get to this screen, you do not have to type anything in. You're going to click Continue as a Guest on the right side. Again, you're going to hit Guest Session. You do not need a code or anything for this. Now, when it says Student Grade Level, you're going to hit this drop-down menu, and you're going to select EOC, the very first thing that drops down. And all that means is End of Course, which brings up all the STAAR tests. Now you want to click this very first thing as well, STAAR Release Tests, and we are going to select the very first thing on the left, the Released 2025 Algebra 1 STAAR Test. Now for the settings, you can mess with these if you want, but you can also change these once the test is actually started. So what I'm going to do right now is just hit Select and move on. And then since I have everything I need, I'm going to go ahead and hit Begin Test Now. Now, like I said, you can change the settings as you enter the test. For you guys, that's going to be this button up here in the top right, pretty self-explanatory, says System Settings. But other than that, what you want to use more than anything on this test, if you want to pass, it is this button right here that says Calculator. You want to hit this, and you want to hit Desmos Graphing Calculator. Now, this thing is awesome, and look, this thing that I was about to warn you guys about just happened to me. You see how it got locked like this? I can't move it. So, what you want to do when you open this, to avoid it getting stuck like that, is hit this button right here. Now, I know this is going to suck because what this means you're going to have to do, I obviously can't see anything behind it. That means that you're going to have to write your questions down on paper and then put them into this. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but I'm going to show you guys today, there's 50 questions on this test. You need 20 to pass. I'm going to show you that you can get more than at least 30 without having to do any kind of math, just knowing how to use this calculator to get the answer. Now, for the sake of simplicity so you guys can see it, I want you to do this full screen on Desmos while you guys are taking the test, but just to make sure that you guys can see what's happening, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split screen my test with Desmos just so you can see what's going to happen. Okay, now that the test is set up, I have my Desmos graphing calculator right here. Again, just to say it again, you're going to be using this one. Now I want you to full screen it and write your answers down on paper. What you're going to do, if you see this word right here, that means you're going to get this answer for free. Because all you have to do is take whatever you had written out right here and put it into Desmos. So I'm going to copy. I have 1.5, parentheses 4j, minus 10k, and just keep going. Minus 2.5, 8j, plus 6k. Now notice, I got this little error message right here. And it says this, too many variables, try defining j or k. Well, all that define means is, okay, I'm going to say j, that was my first letter, so I'm going to say j equals 1. And I just noticed I made a mistake. This should be a 1.5. Okay, still nothing, but that's because I have a second letter. Let's go to k, and that's my second letter, so I'm going to say k equals 2. Once I do that, look how this number pops up right here. Now, I've already said what j and k is, so we're just going to keep going. I'm going to try all these answers until I see a negative 74. So let's try the first one. Negative 12j plus 4k. Negative 4, don't want that one. Try the next one, negative 26j. Nope. Let's try the third one, negative 14j minus 30k. And guys, that is easy. I did no math. I copied the answer. I told it I want j as my first letter, k as my second letter, and I went down all the answers until I found the match. Okay, question 2. I thought about whether or not to have this question on here, but I figured it's easy enough that I can at least explain it. There's no Desmos trick for this one. So I'll go ahead and clear all this stuff off. So you have a choice when you see questions like this. If you see a question like this and you're just like, I don't get it, skip it. Don't waste your time on something you don't understand. But if you read through this, all it's asking, which of these is true? The equation is the asymptote of the graph is equal to x equals 4. I don't know what that means, so I'm going to try and look at the next thing. The function is increasing and then decreasing. Well, if I look at this, it's just decreasing all the way down, so I know that's not true. The x-intercept of the function is 8. Well, I don't even see an 8 for the x-axis, so I can't even find that. The last one, though, it says the y-intercept, that's in the way, it says the y-intercept is at 0, 3. Now, guys, this is why I wanted to focus on this, because it says y-intercept, and if I look at that graph, there's a y right there. So all this is saying is this line, does it cross the y at 3? And guess what? Yes, it does. Only one of these can be true, and I see it right there on the page. The y-intercept was right there at 3. Oh, question 3, and guess what, guys? We get this word again. We're going to get this one for free, and same thing. We're going to type this in, and we're going to figure out which one is the same. Now, if you're like me, and you're like, how the heck do I type that in there? On your calculator, you have this keyboard button right here. Open it up, and every symbol you need is popped up. Get rid of that. Go away. Let's put that up there. And every symbol you need. So if I need the square root symbol, that's this guy right here, and I'm going to type in 50. And just like last time, there's the number. One of these guys is that exact same number. So I'll try the first answer, 2 square root 5. Nope. What if I flip it? So I'll say 5 square root 2. And like I said, guys, if you want to pass this test, look at how easy that is. I did no math. This is doing all of the work, and this is built into your test. Get you out of the way, too. Okay. Question 4. Find the important points on this picture, and then what you're going to do is figure out which one of these is going to make this same picture. So when I look at this, I have this line right here. It crosses the x at -2. It crosses the y at +2. I have this one. I can't see where it crosses, but if I look at where it crosses the other one, it's got a 5 on the side. It's got a 3 on the bottom. So let's try our first answer choice and see if that gets me what I need. So I'm going to type in y equals x plus 2. Y equals -4x plus 17. And I'm going to check. Did this first one cross at -2 and 2? That looks good. That's a good start. So the first line is definitely good. Now, let's see, does it cross here at a 5 and a 3? Look at that, guys. The x value is 3. The y value is 5. Didn't have to do much there. I just had to check which one of these made this picture. And again, if you haven't noticed, I've done no math yet. Okay, when you get to question 5, if you see the word range, I want you to split that word in half. Now this is going to be a little awkward to say, but range, think the word ray, which ends with the letter Y, which I'll type in over here. So think ray for that Y right there. That means that you are talking about the Y values. And I'm going to go back just a bit to show you a graph. If I'm talking about Y values, I'm talking about the numbers that go up and down. So what does that mean? If I type in all of these answers, I'm looking for something that has a Y value that's -1, and then after that it does nothing but go up because it's greater than. So I'm going to type in the first one and see if it does that. Now remember, the highlighted word I just said is greater than. If I look at this, this is going down. So I can just stop right there. I don't even have to figure out a number. It's going down. I'm not using that. Let's try the next one. This time I've got x squared, and I kind of passed over it since I'm on the keyboard. To get these little exponents, simple enough. This button right here, there it is. And just keep copying. So now I'm saying plus 4x plus 3. Now I'm going up, so the greater than is dealt with, but now I got to figure out, is it going up from -1? Well, easy thing here, all I got to do is click. Now remember, we were talking about Y values. I need you guys to remember your elementary ABCs. The end of the alphabet goes X, Y, Z. The X is always the first number, the Y is always the second number, and remember the Y is what I'm looking for, and guess what? There it is right there. This is the one that goes up from -1. Okay, this is the new one, and if you can remember how to do this, it's going to be a lot, but it's going to give it to you. So which equation in slope-intercept form, and we've got an interactive here. We've got a lot that we got to do. This might seem like it's going to be difficult. Anytime you see a table, though, guess what? There's a little plus button right here, and you're going to add the table. And I'm going to copy the whole thing, just like we've been doing. So -6, -10, -2, -4, 4, then 5, 10, then 14. What you're going to do now, this is new. You guys get to use this. You didn't get to use it last year, but it's now built in. This button right here. This is a line. It even says it right here. It's a linear function. So once you're in linear, you know you're good to go. And right here it says 1.5x minus 1. So right off the bat, I know that this second box, the one that's after the x, has got to be the -1. Now if you're not sure what to do with this first one, it says 1.5, but all my answers are fractions. Easy enough. Go to another box on Desmos, type in this number that was right here in front of the x, 1.5. You hit this button right here. Oh my goodness, stay up there. And it will tell me that that fraction, that decimal, is equal to the fraction 3/2. I can tell you this is annoying. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, if you see a table, make a table. All right, moving right along. And if you guys have noticed, we need 20 questions to pass this test. We've already done 6 without doing any math. And guess what? We're on 7, and we have another table coming up. Okay, so I'm going to clear all this out. I'm going to make another table, and again, I'm going to copy it. So I've got 7,592, and again, when you're doing a table, make sure you copy everything. Don't get lazy on these. Remember, all we're doing is copying. Got a couple more numbers, I think, that I can't see. Yep, 4, 4, 2, 8, 23, 28, 54. Okay, and again, we are going to hit this button. Now this time it's a little different. I'll be okay if you guys are not sure what to do when you see this. But the one thing that you can figure out, when you talk about this, if you see something that says strong positive, weak positive, strong negative, weak negative, the one thing that you can do for sure, you're looking at this number right here, this little r value. The first thing that you can at least figure out, it's a negative number, so at least we know it's between these two. The next thing you're looking for is how close is this number to either +1 or -1. Well, in this case, I have -0.99. That's about as close as you can get to -1 as possible, and that means it's strong. Now again, this is one where you might forget what to do, but remember, if you see a table, make a table. You can at least give yourself the 50-50. We saw that negative, we knew it had to be one of these. And if it's strong, it's close to 1. If it's weak, it's close to 0. Okay. Moving on to question 8. For this one, anytime you get something that says you have a slope of this and passes through the point here, the most important thing about this is this point. Because if you notice the slope, that's in all of the answers. I don't really got to worry about that part right now. All I'm going to do, and you guys probably guessed it, we're going to copy, and the most important thing to remember here is include those parentheses. So we have 22, 5, and now, notice I don't see anything. But I know it's there, so I'm going to zoom out until I find that dot. And there it is. And just to make it a little clear, I'm going to turn this into a red dot. And what I want to happen is one of these answers is going to pass right through that dot. So let's try it. If I try the first one, y equals -2/11, x plus 9. Nope. Look at that. I almost got it wrong because I typed in the wrong number, but then when I typed it in right, it was good to go. Now I should also note that I'm kind of going through this fast, so if you did not know how to make a fraction, once I typed in that -2, this divide button will build you a fraction, easy as that. And I'll do it one more time. That red line passed through that red dot. A is my answer, easy as that. Okay, this question is going to require some vocabulary, and as long as you know the vocabulary, you are good to go. You see the word zeros. What I want you to think of that, so first of all, 0 means x-intercept, but the way I want you to really think about that to make it easy, think 0 flat on the floor. You have no height. You have 0 height, so anything along this x-axis right here. So what that means, when I type this guy in, and I want to type in all of it, so h parentheses x, don't skip anything, 3 parentheses x minus 5, close parentheses, open a new one, x plus 7. Flat on the floor. So anything that crosses this line, and Desmos is so cool because look at all I got to do. Click, -7. Click, +5. Nope, nope. Yep, because +5 and -7. It kind of threw me off because of the order, but there's the 5, there's the -7. That's the one that's good to go. All right. Here's another one where you just have to remember. Look at this symbol right here. I can't show you this because I'm just mirroring a screen, but what I need you guys to know is this symbol, if you put your left hand up to it and make an L, that L stands for less than, and see how that L opens the same direction as this. When you think less than, you want to think below. And what I mean by below, I'm talking about the shading. So if I look at this one, there's the line, that's above the line, so that's out. This one, there's the line, that's below the line, so that might be it. This one's above, this one's below. So right off the bat, there's my 50-50. I can be at answer B or answer D. The next thing, the easy way is seeing, oh, there's a line underneath. If you remember it, that line means it's solid. I already know it's B. If you forget which one's supposed to be solid and dashed, what you can do, you can type in this equation. This is going to be a little math if you forget this part, because it doesn't work like this. What you have to do is you have to slide and divide. So what I'm going to do, I don't want this minus 2x, so I will say plus 2x on the other side of the equal sign and get rid of that. Then I don't want this 3, so that means I'm going to divide everything by 3. So 6 gets divided by 3, 2 gets divided by 3, and this gets to go away. And now I just get to check. Did that look like this? Oh, this was a -6. Did that look like this? There's 3, there's -2. Yep, that confirms that B was the right answer all the way around. Question 11, and we've gotten all these right. There might have been a couple in there that might have thrown you off. Now this one is going to be the first one that we are going to skip. Now, if you want to know how to do this, all you would have to do, type in both of these equations. You would slide and divide this first one just like we did the other one. Positive 3x becomes negative 3x, and then we're going to divide by -5 on both parts. But this is one where you have to know how to do this. I'm trying to show you the easy ways around it. You're looking for the x value here, and when you see that, that means that we're looking at 2/3. So skip this. If you see a question like this and don't know how to do this slide and divide, there are other questions we can get right to not waste our time on these. Okay, question 12. We're back to something easy. Now, this is something that, again, you're going to have to remember. Notice how we have two functions here. We have the f, we have the g. Make sure you type both, because when you type both, you'll see that there's the first one, and when I type the second one, I get f, parentheses x plus 8.7, and this is the one that I'm looking for. Where's the red? So I don't see it right now, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There it is. And then I got to know this word right here. Think vertex. The first letter of this is a V. Vertex is the bottom of the V. Now I know this is technically not a V, it's more of a U, but think of this guy right here, that turnaround point. And just like that, I click on it. I know that the answer here is this negative 8.7 comma 0. Okay, 13 is another one that I'm going to skip. It is a slide and divide problem. 14 is another one that I'm going to skip, but this one, I will highlight this for you, because if you see something like this, he does not want to spend more than $75. He wants to spend less. So right off the bat, I know I'm looking for the less than symbols, B and C. Then, all I go up, it was $2.50 for an apple, $3 for a blueberry, and it says that X was the apples. That means that 2.5 needs to go with the X. Okay, please don't miss this one, guys. We talked about this. The other one was harder than this one. Which location best represents the y-intercept? There's the y-axis. Just follow it. Keep following it until you find the point where it crosses, and we find it right there. Okay, question 16. We have another table. We know what to do. Add a table, type everything in. So we have 1 64.95, 2, 109.90, 3, 154.85, 4, 199.80. Now, this is where I typed in the table and I forgot to read the question, because if I look at this, it's still good that I typed in this table, but if I look at this, this is actually what it's asking me. What is the range of the function? I'm going to type it in one more time just so you can see it. When you think range, I want you to think range. You're talking about the y values. Now, when it comes to a table, that is always the numbers on the right. And here's a good reason why I made the table, because now it's confirmed. Those are the y's on the right. So now I'm glad that I did that. Guess how easy this is now. My y values are 64.95, 109.90, 154.85, 199.80. Now that might seem like a mouthful, but when I scroll down, guess what? It's all those numbers. As straightforward as that. As long as I know the y's are these numbers on the right, there they are. Okay. This one might as well be one of the easiest problems on the test. Again, you have f of x, you have f parentheses negative 1. Check this out. F parentheses x equals 3 parentheses x minus 4 squared minus 7. It didn't give me anything. I got a graph, but it needs a number. Well, guess what? This says f parentheses negative 1, so I'm going to go to a new thing. F parentheses negative 1. Boom. 68. And they're going to be super impressed with you guys on that one, because that is an interactive problem. And guess what? You didn't have to do any math to find that 68. Make the calculator do the work. If I can get you anything today, make this do the work for you. All right. So now, this is one that you guys got to be careful of, because last time it said linear and it was big and bold. This time it says exponential and it's kind of hidden in the question. But we have a table again. So just like always, I'm going to build it. Negative 1, 270. 0, 90, 1, 30, 2, 10. And just like the last time, we need to find an equation. And if it's asking for an equation, that means we're hitting this guy right here. Last time we were looking for a linear. This time we're looking for an exponential. I do not know why they put all these in here. There is nowhere anywhere close to Algebra 1 that you would ever do a sinusoidal or a logistic regression, but find the word exponential right there. Now, you should be able to find the answer right off the bat. You know it's supposed to be a 90 out front, which automatically puts us between B and C, and you see it's a decimal, so it can't possibly be the 3. But just in case, if there happens to be a couple of fractions you have to choose from, don't type in that decimal, it won't help you, but what you can do, type in the fraction, 1 divided by 3, and that will give you that decimal that you were looking for, so you know that it was answer C. Okay, what value best represents the 0? This is going to pop up several times. 0 is the x-intercept. Think 0 is being 0 flat on the floor. There's the floor of the graph, not below it, not above it, flat on the floor. Where this line crosses it, right there, -5, boom, easy, move on. Okay, this one is going to be a weird one. It's an almost equivalent, but not quite. So what you're going to do with this, a normal habit to get used to, type in the equation, and we haven't got to one like this yet, so I'm just going to tell you right now, make a habit when you type in something that doesn't already have an equal sign, put a y equals in front of it. So I'm going to say y equals 5x squared minus 30x minus 80. And what we're looking for, remember we talked about this a second ago, these are important points, these are the zeros. One of these is either going to pass through that -2 or it's going to pass through that 8. So let's try the first one, y equals x plus 4. Nope, it did not pass through the -2 or the 8. So I'm going to try the next one. And make your life easy. Don't write the whole thing when you don't have to. I'm going to change this 4 to an 8. And again, this 0 was all the way over here. I need it to be either here or here, and it's not. Now I'm going to try -4. Nope, nowhere close. We're here at 4, and again, we're looking for 8 or -2. You guys can probably guess by now it's the only one left. So when I say x minus 8, that is the one where 3 worlds meet, where the u meets the line meets the x. Okay, for question 21, which equation represents the axis of symmetry? hopefully you know at least this word right here. When you see symmetry, you think symmetrical. And if you don't know what that is, are you kidding me? Am I about to cap out? Hopefully I'm still going. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up on this question. Maybe I have to make another video. Okay. When you see symmetrical, you think the same on both sides. So what that means, cut a line right down the middle of this graph. Look at the number that I just crossed. And again, this is the halfway point. The number that I just crossed was -5, and that -5 was an x value. Just like that, x equals -5. Okay, I'm assuming that I'm going to have to make a part 2 here, so I will stop this video and I will pick it up on question 22 in just a second.